Assalamu alaikum. A crime occurred in Blackburn recently, and I wasn't far away from this place. I was very close to it. I was told that a young girl, 18 years old, she got killed mistakenly. Many members of gangs, they were fighting against one another, shooting, street shooting, and suddenly this girl was shot dead. Now, the masjid I attend in Blackburn, they immediately started to collect money for the family of this girl. They did not investigate who she belongs to, what cult, what sect. She's Muslim. She seems to be having a very decent kind of clothes, Islamic. And all masjids in Blackburn, in Manchester, in many, many cities, they immediately sympathized and they collected money as a gift for the family, helping them for more patience for this tragedy, which is good. But some people, they were investigating and they found out that she belongs to a Shia cult. Now, there is a guy, his name is Mehdi Hasan. I think he's in London. He started to speak against that. And he said some nasty words. He said, yeah, so her blood is free, is not sacred because she is Shia. Well, his name is Mehdi Hasan. He's Shia, graduate from Christ Church University. And I saw a debate with him praising Iran for cooperating with the Americans to eliminate Al-Qaeda and Taliban.
Iran is not our enemy because it's a strange sort of enemy that has worked with the West to fight the West's worst enemies. After 9/11, it was Iran that helped the US and UK topple the Taliban in Afghanistan and end the Al-Qaeda presence in that country.
Well, this is what Iran itself said. But would like to remind Mehdi Hasan that Iran was supporting, hosting, accommodating Al-Qaeda for 13 years until now. So that's what makes Iran the Muslims' enemy, because it is supportive to Al-Qaeda, accommodating them while playing game, claiming that it is supporting America against Al-Qaeda. Wow, that's the hypocrite agenda. Let's get back to the topic. Let's have a look at his tweet written by him on May 2020. He said, sectarianism is a plague. None of us are immune to it. That said, within Muslim communities, there has long been an anti-Shiite animus going back centuries, which we do not talk about. Even when people are literally openly denouncing Shia as not Muslims, are justifying their killing. Well, he's throwing an accusation just generally like this, and who else will his accusation be hitting except the Sunni people? That's why I say sectarianism is a plague that you have been infected too, Mr. Mehdi Hasan. I saw one of your videos shouting and saying, all Sunnis and Shia are brothers, their God is one, their prophet is one, their book is one. Sorry to say to you, maybe you don't know about that, or maybe you're ignoring this, that the Shia say that the book of Allah had been changed. The Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet, had changed it for their own personal lively benefits and favors. That is in the book Bihar al-Anwar. Look at this page here. They said they changed it. They omitted some of it. Volume 35, page 234. Look, that's what he says exactly. And by the way, there's a man in London. I'm sure you know him. He has very high charismatic person. I'm sure you know him. Abdul Hamid al-Ghazi, who said it clearly, without any hesitance. Whoever says that the Quran is not been changed, he is not Muslim. He is kafir.
القائل بعدم تحريف القرآن كافر. القاعدة صحيحة. القائل بعدم تحريف القرآن كافر. قد تقولون وكيف ذلك؟ القاعدة صحيحة. هذا العدد الكبير من أحاديث أهل البيت الذي يتحدث عن تحريف القرآن، وقد استمعتم إلى كلام السيد الخوئي من أن كثرة هذه الروايات تبعث على القطع أن بعضها قد صدر من المعصوم. لو كانت رواية واحدة نحن نقطع بصدورها أو نطمئن بصدورها.
Go and ask anyone to translate that to you. The man said, yes, that rule is correct, that the one who says the Quran had not been changed is disbeliever, kafir. He said, because our Khou'i leader, cleric, he said that those narrations about the Quran being changed are authentic, and we certainly accept it as a correct narration. See, that's why people have issue with your sect and cult, which is plague as you described. Wow, do you see that? There are many things that we can prove to you. Who are the Shia and what's their beliefs? And I think you know that they are very much professional in targeting the companions of the Prophet and the wives of the Prophet, particularly Aisha. That's your sect, and that's your plague. Despite that, we do not say kill every Shia and their blood is not sacred. No. When many Husseiniya were bombed in Iraq, in many countries, we denounced it. We, the Sunni people, denounced it, and we said innocent people, civilian people should not be targeted, especially in the religious places, no matter what religion they belong to. So stop your behavior because of your infected plague. Because you're infected with plague of sectarianism. Well, that first showed that he is inclined for sectarianism, and that shed the light on the madhab that he follows. He did it by himself. He said that sectarianism is plague. I agree with him. But he should not neglect the fact that the Shia madhab today is a big pandemic that caused the shredding and the devastation of Syria, Yemen. He may say to me, oh, look at the Saudis. Wait. If the Saudis' reaction had some mistakes and crimes, who is the cause of this except the Iranians? They are supporting those poor people. They're supporting them with ballistic missiles even. Whew! That's horrible. So, I would advise Mr. Mehdi Hasan to read about the history of the Shia. He will find that it was and is still a dagger that stabbed Islam from the back. And until today, look, who's the only supporter where the Armenians can get weapons from? Iran. Not Georgia though, not Turkey. To prove to him that the madhab of the Shia is pandemic, oh, look what they're doing in Syria. The killings. If one woman got shot mistakenly, look at the women in Syria. Tens of thousands of women. They are in the jails, being raped every day. The Russians are welcome to choose what they desire. The Shia, they have also many women that they kept them for themselves. They're killing them. They are raping them. You did not see that, Mr. Mehdi Hasan? No. Can you name for us a masjid for the Sunnah in Tehran? No. You can't. There isn't. Does this please you, Mr. Mehdi Hasan? Do you justify this? Are you pleased that the Shia delivered Iraq to the Tatarians in the past? And today, the Americans bought Iraq from Mr. Sistani, and they gave him $200 million. What is $200 million compared to the oil they're taking? $200 million, they can bring it back in one day by smuggling the Iraqi oil. In one day, they can bring it back. Isn't the Shia cult a pandemic when the Shia keep insulting the wife of the Prophet and they celebrate her death in London? And they give gift cakes on the occasion of the death of Aisha? What kind of hatred do you have?
لكن ما أعرف هل سماحة الشيخ علق حول مسألة اليوم أصدر سماحة آية الله العظمى السيد محمد صادق الروحاني من فتوى حول هدر دم المدعو عبد الرحمن الدمشقية بعد أن أساء إساءة علنية للزهراء عليه السلام، فأرجو أن يعلق سماحة الشيخ حول هذا الموقف الشجاع من سماحة السيد محمد صادق الروحاني. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أحسنت أخي ثائر، رحمة الله والديك، بارك الله فيك. شيخنا الأخ ثائر، تعليق حقكم على موقف الشجاع للسيد الروحاني لفتوى الأخيرة بهدر دم دمشقية.
فقط يعني لاحظوا أيها الإخوة، في الكويت مثلا بعد الذي صنعناه وبعد الأزمات التي وقعت والمشاكل الطائفية التي حصلت، والحمد لله نفخر أن كنا من أشعلناها بشكل عام.
أما المساجد التي يحكمها ما يسمى بهيئة علماء المسلمين، وهي هيئة علماء الكفر والفساد والمنافقين، فهذه المساجد يجب أن تهدم، ولا يجب أن يتم التراجع عن هذه المسألة. قوانين الله يجب أن تطبق بدون محاباة وبكل صراحة وبدون مراعاة لأحد. هذه المسألة.
وانا اقول لسماحة الشيخ، سماحة الشيخ حبيبي الشيخ ياسر، ان شاء الله اذا انت تصدى للمرجعية فان شاء الله انا اول المقلدين لك، وان شاء الله اتمنى يعني كنت قصته على الوهابية، لان اكو جامع هنا داخلي، فان شاء الله هذا من اسجلها هدية الك. جامع هنا داخلي، فان شاء الله هذا من اسجلها هدية الك.
صل على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعن أعداءهم أجمعين، سيما أبا بكر وعمر وعائشة وحفصة. الله أكبر.
عائشة في النار، 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 عائشة في النار.
This dirt is occurring in London, and those are the people of your plague disease. It's hysteric kind of behavior. In his prayer, he's cursing the companions of the Prophet and the wife of the Prophet. He's including it in his supplications and prayer, and they're celebrating the death of the wife of the Prophet. What is this? This is your madhab. This is your cult. This is your religion. You don't mention anything about that, but you only accuse the other people who are not any other one but the Sunni people. You're blaming them for being enemy to the Shia. This is injustice. Speak against that, as you are accusing the Sunni people to be declaring that Shi'ism is a cult of faithlessness. Speak it out. We appealed on Ofcom to stop this channel, Fadak channel, which insult the companions of the Prophet, the wives of the Prophet, day and night. In fact, this channel had been established and based on the occasion of insulting the wife of the Prophet. They are specifying their whole effort just to insult the wife of the Prophet. What kind of isn't this hatred? And by the way, the Sunni Muslims don't say that the blood of the Shia is halal to be shed. No. Not even Christian blood, not even Jewish blood. Just like that, killing without any reason. That's haram, Islamically. And I'm a Muslim saying this. But recently also, in that channel, Fadak channel, which is, mashallah, well licensed in Britain, the mother of civilization and forbearance and tolerance. They gave license to this channel, which keeps cursing, insulting day and night. Even myself. Fadak channel, in the midst of London, they rehearsed a fatwa by Muhammad Sadiq Ayatollah, Muhammad Sadiq Rouhani, that my blood should be shed. And you know what they said in the channel? This fatwa that Ayatollah Rouhani gave is a brave fatwa. In Fadak channel, and I called Ofcom and I spoke to them, nothing. They gave no consideration to my appeal against them. Have you done anything against that man, Abdul Hamid Al-Ghazi, who is also in London, and he has a channel for himself, and he has a lot of money, and he said it clearly: whoever does not believe that the Quran had been altered and changed, he is kafir, he's not Muslim, unless he believes that the Quran is changed. Amazing. You are proud of the Quran that you have, and sometimes you cite some verses of it. Do you know that your cult accused Abu Bakr and Umar, the two collectors of the Quran, that they are like Fir'aun? Abu Bakr kafir. Oh, they say, the narration, they say about Abu Bakr and Umar, kafiran, they are two kafir disbelievers. Kafirun man ahabbahuma. Kafir is the one who loves them. Kafir is the one who gave them a pledge of allegiance. That's what they say. You know, if a Christian came to you and said to you, "Oh, you're Shia, right? But your book is discredited because the collector of the Quran is Abu Bakr and Umar, who are both kafir in your cult, Mr. Mehdi Hasan. In your cult." And you don't get angry for the girl except because you belong to that cult. Otherwise, prove that those Muslims in Blackburn, they said her blood is okay to be shed since she's Shia, there's no problem. They collected money for her. You're an unfair person. Try to show that you are reasonable, logic person, intelligent. But why did you have to make that claim? You're making a lie. By saying that because she's Shia, they said, it's okay, let her blood be shed. It's okay. Her blood is not sacred. This is stupid and rubbish. Hundreds of masjids, they cooperated and they agreed to collect money and to give it to her family. But you are unappreciative people. You were not appreciative to the wives of the Prophet, to the companions of the Prophet. So how can you answer a Shia? So how can you answer a Christian who says to you, who is the collector of your Quran? Say Abu Bakr and Umar. Who are those according to the Shia madhab? They're kafir. So your book is not reliable, because the collectors of your book are not reliable in your madhab. So your book is not reliable. Please don't cite Quran on us, because your cult do not believe in those who collected it. So any accusation against those two persons will render to the Quran they collected. How much more if the Christians know that the Shia themselves believe that Abu Bakr and Umar and many companions, they have changed, inserted what suits their favor and omit from the Quran what does not suit them. And they've been omitting the names of Abu Bakr and 70 companions. A lot of companions, they used to be criticized in the Quran, but Abu Bakr and Umar, they omitted them. How much more when we find in the book Mir'at al-Uqul, he cited a narration that says that the Quran that Jibreel collected is of what? 17,000 verses, and now we have 6,200 verses, something like this. What are the rest? And ironically, Al-Majlisi, the author of this book, and he is very well respected person in the Shiite madhab, he said this narration is authentic, that the Quran had been changed. He said that. He said this is a proof that the Quran is naqis. That means imperfect. And it was changed. How can you speak proudly of that Quran, which your cult, the cult you belong to, is making this horrible accusation that is sufficient to consider the person disbeliever? If you know that this is wrong, why do you still Shia? This is what we say to the Christian. If you believe that Trinity is false and wrong, why do you still consider yourself Shiite? You have to declare that you're freeing yourself from this madhab, since it has this horrible belief. If you believe that accusing the Quran of being incomplete is a matter of disbelief, so don't blame people if they say that this cult is involved in disbelief. So you want your cult to discredit the Quran, yet at the same time you want to maintain their fame, the Shia fame and reputation, and defending it against those who say to the Shia, you're kafir, because your scholars, your clerics announced that the Quran is being changed. I wonder, how can you defend the Quran with the British people, while at the same time you belong to a cult that says this Quran has been changed and it's not protected, preserved, as Allah said in the Quran, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. It is we who descended the Quran, and it is on us to protect it. But the Shia say Allah did not fulfill what He promised to preserve the Quran. If you ask a Christian, is your book changed? He say no. If you ask the Shia, is your book changed? He say yes. Don't tell me, but I don't. No. Because this is mentioned in the bases, the pillars of your madhab. And that is the book Al-Kafi, the most reliable book to the Shia. He mentioned that narration. And Al-Majlisi said in Mir'at al-Uqul, volume 12, page 525, exactly. Go to Mir'at al-Uqul, volume 12, page 525. I still memorize it. He says, this narration is authentic, and it proves that the Quran is imperfect and not enough. Imperfect. Many ayat have been taken out, omitted. That's what he says. Not being aware is not my evidence. Ignorance is not evidence. What I'm showing here are books, are papers from your reliable books, the sources of your madhab and cult. Isn't this disbelief? This is the question that I want to ask you. Isn't this a matter of disbelief and faithlessness or not? What is the difference between saying that the Quran is changed and believing in the Trinity? Both are a matter of disbelief. So if you ask a Christian, is your book changed? He says no. If you ask a Shia, is your book changed? They say yes. If you ask a Christian, who is the best? The Christian will be saying to you, the companions of Jesus are the best. If you ask a Shia, who are the worst people? They will say to you, the companions of Muhammad. Mr. Smart, don't you see what the Shia did in Syria? Raping women, killing even children, helping the Jews and the West on changing the ethnic Sunni majority to be replaced by Shia to become Sunni minority, and bringing Shia from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Iran, from Iraq to replace the Sunnah in Syria. It's a big, horrible, filthy plan, conspiracy that they are orchestrating, as well as Iraq. Look what Paul Bremer said. He said, we have achieved a great thing in Iraq by removing the fanatic Sunnah from being the leaders of Iraq for 1,000 years, and we handed it over to the Shia. See those secular, democratic people, how they're playing filthy, dirty games? Listen to Paul Wimmer, what he says. Unfortunately, it's an interview with Al Jazeera, but I didn't have it in English, but it's available in the archive of Al Jazeera, and it's translated into Arabic. He said, "We delivered Iraq from the Sunni authoritarianism that lasted for 1,000 years, and we handed it over to the Shiites." What a filthy confession! This was justified to kill hundreds of thousands of people just for achieving this goal, is to remove the rhyming of Iraq from the hands of the Sunni to the Shiites. Why your tongue started to speak out falsely when you said that there are people who said it's okay to shed the blood of Shia? Where are those? In Blackburn? In the UK? Why you had no tongue to speak against what's happening, what the Shia been doing in many countries? Why? Didn't your eyes see how America is taking advantage, America and Britain, to smuggle and to get the oil in Syria and Iraq, and they are kindling a great fire, sectarian fire, and they call themselves seculars. We have no interest in religion, and we have no agenda against any religion. If this is real, then why you are kindling the war between sects? And today you feel disgusted just for a mere question about this young girl, Aya Hashim, if she belongs to the Shia or not. You get mad for this, but you don't get mad and disgusted from what happened in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen. You don't see that. Doesn't it anger you to see those who say La ilaha illallah giving testimony that the book of Allah is changed? Isn't this a pandemic madhab that caused the devastation of many countries, especially Lebanon? I'm not able to go to Lebanon since 30 years because of Hezbollah, your madhab. Didn't you see this secular system? They don't care about who's right, who's wrong, but they care about who is more beneficial for favorable ambitions and interests. So they don't care if the Ahmadis are right or wrong. They support them. And they spend money on them in unbelievable way. They support them. So they look for those minority sects and cults in the body of Islam, and they support them. This is the fallacy and the falling of secularism, because they base their principles on not being religious, and they have no agenda whatsoever against religions, and they give freedom to anyone. You want to be Christian, go ahead. You want to be Jew, go ahead, etc., etc. But now they are supporting those minor cults and sects in order to provoke them against one another, and that's what they did in Iraq. Look at Iraq now. What happened? Are you happy for the daily killings in Iraq? What is the benefit of such channel that has, it's very rich channel, by the way. Look at their cameras, look at their potentials, look at their the qualifications they have. They're very rich, yet this channel was directly challenging 5 million Muslims in the UK, challenging them, insulting their Islamic models, especially who? The wife of the Prophet. So secularism is supporting two kinds of people: those who insult Islam and those who distort Islam. This is a disgrace against secularism. They mocked the statement of the church that the earth is flatted, is not rounded, while this same British people, they are allowing the Shia to have their rallies, hitting themselves with chains and with swords and with knives, and the people see the bleeding and they say it's okay. They mock the church for its false statement, but they encourage the Shia in their rubbish kinds of beliefs, such as hitting themselves. This is, you know as I know, that this is a Christian ceremony, which is not emerging nowadays. Clearly, you can see it in Spain, recently in Italy. This is a Christian ceremony, rituals that the Shia are doing now. Such rituals that really distort Islam. And I'm sure some people came to you and said to you, what is this? Why in the Shiite madhab they hit themselves like this and they keep bleeding themselves? And there are Shia clerics that lead them. They're watching them. There's a Shiite person in Birmingham that recorded a video writing the name of Aisha and Abu Bakr and Umar and Hafsa on his shoes, and he threw the shoes.
Of what we call a joke, just to get this fun and educational for everybody. See this shoe, right? This is just something I like to do when I'm bored. If somebody doesn't like this, then to hell with you. I don't really care, to be honest. It's my shoe. I can do whatever I want to it. Basically it says Abu Bakr on one side and then Umar on the other one. And then if you look at the other shoe, I'm just going to write a name here and a name here. Basically, it's got Aisha on one side and it's got Hafsa on the other. So yeah, that's just a little joke that I like to do with my shoes. What I'm thinking about doing, since these shoes are old and I don't really need these shoes anymore, what I'm thinking about doing is taking these shoes into a Sunni mosque and then just chucking them there, just leaving them there,
This is arrogant, stupid, cultist, sectarianist kind of action. Did anyone speak against it? No. And he did it here in this country, in the UK. And this stupid Shiite didn't know that Aisha, the daughter of Ja'far named her Aisha. Why? Because he's against Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, or because he loves Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, and he respects her. Didn't you know that 3 of the children of Ali, the first one has the name of Abu Bakr, the second is Umar, in which the Shia in Iraq, they changed his name, Umar, the son of Ali. It's written on the entrance of the shrine, and they added Alif and Noon, so he became what? Amran, the son of Ali. They added 2 letters in order what? To divert people from knowing this fact, which proves that the family of the Prophet used to be loving the wives of the Prophet without any exception. That's the name of the daughter of Ja'far as-Sadiq, who is well respected in Shi'ism. Her name is Aisha. What does it mean when we see all the masjids collecting money for this woman without asking her or her mother to which cult she belongs to? You know what it means? That those Sunni people, they are good-hearted people. And they did not treat her as the Shia in Syria treating the Sunni Muslims, or the Sunni Muslims in Iran, who are something like 35 million people, yet Iran does not allow them to have a Sunni mosque. See? If you got angry for this girl, get angry for those people as well. Otherwise, you are yourself cultist and sectarianist. But you don't feel it. Just like those who carry corona, they don't feel it. How much more if we know that the core of Shi'ism is to ask the dead people, especially the family of the Prophet. They ask them for their remedies, for their cure, for a breakthrough, for provision, for healing from diseases and problems. They ask the dead which is, according to the Quran, it is shirk. And Allah said to the pagans before, many centuries before, He said in Surah Al-A'raf, I quote, إن الذين تدعون من دون الله عباد أمثالكم فادعوهم فليستجيبوا لكم إن كنتم صادقين. Those who you are invoking, they are servants the like of you, servants. So those pagan people used to be asking the dead, not the statues. The statues are the symbol of the dead people. And your madhab says it's okay to ask the dead, because the dead righteous people, the family of the Prophet, they can hear it, even if the invokers were 1 billion. Don't worry, nothing can be hidden from their knowledge. Yes, they are in the grave, but they know everything. That's what the Shia believe. The core of Tawheed in the Quran is فَاعْبُدِ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. So, worship Allah, making your religion, faith, sincere to Him. In the next surah, this is in Surah Az-Zumar, the next surah, فَادْعُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. So invoke Allah, making your religion sincere to Him. So that means supplication is worship. Yes, but your people are worshipping, supplicating the dead. So if they supplicate the dead, that means they are worshipping the dead, and that's your cult, and that's your sect. So please, don't expose yourself to be recognized as a fanatic cultist person. You shouldn't be, because people used to think that, mashallah, you are defender of Islam against atheists, against etc., etc. But what you did now, it showed that this filthy stain of sectarianism had not been removed from your heart. Thank you.